Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video packed full of my favorite Dollar Tree DIYs ever. You guys are gonna love it. I hope you leave here feeling inspired and want to create some of these looks. It is so much fun using budget-friendly pieces and inexpensive pieces that you might not think to use and turning them around and making them over into gorgeous home decor pieces that you're gonna love. Don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out here on YouTube. And let's go ahead and get started. For the first project, I am taking two of these Dollar Tree vases. At first, I passed on these when I first saw them in the store because I felt like they kind of had an odd shape. They kind of slightly leaned to one side, and I wasn't sure how that I would use those. But then I grabbed them the second time that I saw them, and I am so happy I did because this is one of my hands down favorite projects that I've made in a while. I loved how these turned out. I went ahead and kept the theme that it had already, how it is painted two different colors. So I painted the top with white chalk paint and then getting a really thick paint mixture by mixing baking soda with some gray paint. I painted the bottom and it has like this concrete look to it, and I just love how it came out. I would love to find these at like TJ Maxx or something. I would have definitely purchased them. So I'm so happy with how they came out, and I just kept piling on that paint to get a ton of texture and make it look like it has that concrete look. I wanted to hang some little charms off of these vases, so I actually did a couple of different versions. I took some of the Dollar Tree little tags and stuck them together, put some of these rub-on transfers on there, and then also paired it with some of the new laser cut wood pieces from Dollar Tree, and then just playing around with it. You could add any kind of charms, but I feel like even though they're different, they all go together so nicely. I haven't had the time yet, but whenever I do, I have a couple of extra of these on hand. I would love to make a few more of them and just put them in a row together on a shelf or maybe in a tray, but I just love them so much. They are so simple and easy to do, but get that perfect boho farmhouse look, and it only costed a couple of bucks. Next up, I am using Dollar Tree's plungers. I actually ended up using 3 of these, but I did prep 4 sticks because I thought I was going to use it, but one of them I was able just to cut in half. But this is from my plunger hacks video, which definitely check that out. I'll leave a link down below, but I love this project. It is a tea towel ladder. These are super trendy right now, and they look adorable. So I actually stained it with a light colored stain, but I've just laid out everything and kind of marked where I needed to cut. I cut it off the little piece that screws on the rubber piece at the bottom, so everything looked nice and clean cut, and then cutting them down with this miter box and saw. I'll link this down below. This is a must-have for me. I love this in my craft room. I just picked this up very inexpensive at Walmart, but use it all the time, and it's perfect for all of these thin Dollar Tree pieces that your scissors really can't cut through. So laying everything down, I wanted it to have a tighter hold than just using hot glue, so I am going in with liquid nails and adding some of that. Be careful you don't want to get this glue on the wood because it won't soak in the stain in those areas, but this has held together forever. It is super sturdy and it's just one of my favorite pieces. Always be sure to check out the clearance aisle on paints and stains. I always go to Walmart in the clearance section, and they always have a ton of different options to choose from. So this was just in the clearance section. I didn't think too much about it. I just picked it up, but it is now definitely hands down my favorite go-to stain. I am loving this like soft grayish beige look, so it goes perfect with like the farmhouse or boho or just really anything. I think it's so funny how styles change so fast. Whenever we were building our new front porch, I wanted to like stain the poles dark and then paint the rest of it white, but now I think I am just going to stain it light colored whenever it is all done. But I feel like it will look so beautiful against like tan siding. So let me know what your kind of style is. But I stained this and then wiped it off with an old cloth and then styled it with a tea towel and a little heart charm from the dollar store. Next up, I am using a couple of books from Dollar Tree, but you definitely can feel free to recycle any old books that you have or pick them up very inexpensive at the Goodwill or a thrift store. I made sure that I covered the book cover completely, so I painted some pieces white, and then I am painting this with Mod Podge. I am wanting to Mod Podge on some scrapbooking paper. I love picking mine up at Hobby Lobby. Make sure that you do fold it over the edge so you get a nice pretty edge in the front, and then mine didn't cover the entire bottom, but I didn't mind this because you're never going to see it, so if you want to, you can piece two pieces together, but I'm really just focusing on getting this paper to stick down, so I'm sticking a ton of Mod Podge underneath the paper and then painting over the top as well, so it's all sealed in and I'll be able to dust these if they're on a shelf. Next is a very important part, but I wanted to take my Mod Podge and I am gluing all of the pages together around the edges. So I do a couple of coats of this, letting everything dry in between so they are nice and tightly stuck together. And then I drew a rectangle so I could have a guide to go by, and then taking a utility knife or razor blade, I go in and cut the pages out. And this is going to create a little hidden pocket. I think these would be the perfect little books to put like on a nightstand or maybe your dresser in your bedroom that you could put some little jewelry pieces in. But I was thinking this would be an awesome gift. So even like for upcoming Mother's Day, you could put like little gift cards in here or some money or jewelry or any kind of little gift, but then they get to keep the books and like set them on a shelf for decorative purposes. So one of my favorite DIYs, it did take me a second to peel out the pages and cut them a few at a time, but after I got the height that I wanted in the little hole, I did take more Mod Podge and go around so everything is nice and tight and sealed down and nothing is going to come apart. I have had these Dollar Tree birdhouses on hand for a while, and I think I've only made like one thing using them, but I wanted to turn them into something really, really pretty for this spring and summer. So I am putting it or pairing it with one of these wooden crates and staining it once again with this flagstone stain that I am in love with. I wanted to mix the wood and the whites and make this a neutral piece, but it's gonna look so beautiful. I feel like it goes together very nice. So I got everything stained and then going in with white chalk paint and painting everything that I wanted white. You could use more of the Dollar Tree plungers if you want to cut them down, but I'm using a dowel rod from Hobby Lobby. I was able to use my miter box once again and trim these down, stick them in some styrofoam. I glued the little bird houses on top of these dowel rods after staining them, and then filled in the little box with some greenery. I am obsessed with this stain color and white together. I feel like it is so light and airy and looks so beautiful and fresh for this spring and summer. But you could fill this box with some different colored flowers, anything to match your style. I'm really just trying to keep the neutral look, but just really, really love this piece. This is the only project that I am not using Dollar Tree items, but all of these can be substituted with Dollar Tree pieces. So I'm using a plank of wood from Hobby Lobby that had this little grouted edge I thought was so beautiful, as well as some of these little ball knobs, I think they were called. But I pulled out 4 of them so that I could put this on the bottom of the tray, and this is just going to be like a little tray or a little riser so that you can put candles or like faux plants on. But I am using the antique wax by Waverly because this works kind of as a stain. Whenever you paint something with it, you can wipe it down and still get to see the wood grain through it, but you don't get so much of a mess or that smelly smell whenever you are using stain. So I paint those and then go ahead and paint the little wood plank with white chalk paint. But like I said, you definitely can substitute these little ball knobs that I purchased from Hobby Lobby for like the succulent holders. People have used the little succulent plastic cups that they come in at Dollar Tree, and you can substitute the wooden piece for any type of Dollar Tree's wooden planks or cut down a larger sign. But definitely can substitute these pieces, but I love buying quality pieces sometimes to get like the nice sturdy tray I was looking for. Next up is a really cool way to make your own DIY planter using Dollar Tree supplies. So I picked up a pack of these square wooden planks and paired them with some of these tumbling blocks. And it is a little bit tricky getting this together. It's super simple, but you do have to watch where you put your wood pieces on one side is the same way you have to do it on the other side. So I was able to take the tower blocks and glue them down in place so that everything was nice and sturdy. And this is a super sturdy planter box. I think everyone is just super obsessed with faux plants right now and everything planters, especially when we're getting on into the warmer months. I want so many plants like outside and inside, so it's fun to make your own planter boxes so you don't have to spend a fortune decorating your home for this year. I did decide to go ahead and add a bottom to it so that I could put some styrofoam in this planter, and then I will be painting on it with some of the antique wax from Waverly. I think one of these boxes stained with some of the flagstone stain or even painted white would also be really pretty and match more of the style that I'm going for right now. I love these wildflower picks from Dollar Tree. They are just such nice quality. I love the greenery that's at the bottom. To have more control over where these go, I do like to trim all of them down with my wire cutters and then poke them into the styrofoam exactly where I want them. To add a charm or a little decorative piece to the front, I used one of Dollar Tree's wooden hearts. I spray painted that with some silver spray paint, and then to get a beautiful galvanized look, I'm going in with some elephant color dark gray paint and kind of dabbing that all over as well as the white, and it gives you this really pretty like galvanized vintage look that I love so much. And then added a little bow to the front and hot glued this down in place. I feel like this is a gorgeous planter. I just love it. I think it is beautiful and is like really cutesy, but also goes well with farmhouse decor. The next project is such a high-end Dollar Tree DIY. I made it very simple. It did take a little bit of extra work, but totally worth it. It looks really nice, all decorated up on my entryway table. But I'm using 16 dowel rods. These are just in the packs from Dollar Tree. It took a couple of the packs, and then I decided to paint them black. Now this was a little bit tricky, so I did have to kind of roll them around and get them completely coated, but they didn't have to be perfect because I will be touching up the paint after after I get this piece put together. So painting them all, and then after they dry, I'm going to be hot gluing 4 of them in kind of like a little square to make one rod. So there will be 4 posts on this little DIY, but 4 dowel rods each post. So just try to place your glue as easy as possible and turn it toward the center so that it's hidden, but I will be touching this up later on, so don't worry about any mistakes, but just trying to get this into like a little sturdier looking post so that it can make like a larger lantern. To create the wood that's going to be holding up all of these posts, I am cutting these rectangular wooden planks in half. So I just kind of placed another one for a guide and then trimmed it down, and then I was able to use that as my pattern and cut out 8 of these so that I would have 4 for the top and 4 for the bottom. I'm so happy that you're able to score these pieces of wood so easy, so that all you have to do is just trim on them a couple of times or score on them a couple of times with your razor knife, and then they just break cleanly in half. And then going over this with more of the antique wax to get more of that wood stain look and gluing these together. You will see that I have some hot glue showing, but no worries, because later on in the project, after you get closer to being done, you can take your heat tool or maybe even like a hot hair dryer and heat up your hot glue and kind of take like a little needle, or these little needle tools from Dollar Tree work awesome, but I was able to kind of heat up the glue and then pull the glue out of the cracks, and like it just makes it have more of a smoother finish, and then just touching up the black paint as well as the antique stain. Another high-end look that you can create is grabbing 2 of these Dollar Tree candle holders. I love how they have that taller one now as well, with like the top is a little bit different, not straight. I actually wondered if they quit selling these for a while because I could not find them in any store, but then I recently went into another one and found some more, so you never know what you're going to get whenever you go to Dollar Tree. But for a nice like modern farmhouse look, I wanted these to be painted with black, like the paint dipped look. So using my painter's tape to go around these, getting it as straight as possible, painting the bottoms black, and I did do a couple of coats of this to make sure that it wasn't going to be see-through, but I didn't want the paint to go too high because I am going to be placing candles in these to burn, and I didn't want the flame to be hidden. I took the painter's tape off, and then I am obsessed with all of the new Dollar Tree's ribbon that they're putting out, especially this jute kind. It's like got this little burlap, like kind of like jute twine, I'm not sure, but it is so beautiful. They have 4 different styles of this that I have been able to find. So I wrap this around the top of the paint and it makes everything blend in, also gives it those more warm tones, and definitely is my style. I love how much like just detail this added by just gluing this around the middle of these candle holders. So then placing in some little votive candles from Dollar Tree, and you actually can burn in these because these are so tall and glass, but just a beautiful piece and look really great alongside the lantern that we just made. Thank you all so much for crafting with me today. I love making these videos and squishing everything in one place and you can play this while you're crafting or wanting some inspiration and different ideas. You can mix and match these ideas, but really getting to create those nicer end or higher end looks on a budget. Don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up, make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you next time. Happy crafting, bye!